Hello everybody, I'm on to the West Ham Way YouTube channel. You already know who I am. Of course it was Southampton 0, West Ham 0. We took the point at St Mary's, and to be fair, I would take that result. Listen, we can talk about the team selection, the starting 11. I thought it was a little bit more positive. A 4-1-4-1 is how we played in the game. Obviously, I think we thought it was going to be a 4-2-3-1. Manu coming in, Fornals coming in, positive changes. Yarmolenko on the right-hand side, Sebastian Haller keeping his place, and obviously Craig Dawson and Ryan Fredericks coming in. So a much changed side against Southampton, who had Danny Ings back. And listen, first 10 minutes, I thought Southampton absolutely controlled the game. And West Ham, as I predicted, lacked that pace, particularly in that midfield four. We pushed Soucek up a little bit higher to try and win the ball, try and capitalise on Southampton possibly losing possession. We didn't really do that enough. But obviously because the press and the athleticism wasn't really there. And I think Southampton knew that was coming. And they were effective in combating that. Someone who I thought played really well for Southampton was Theo Walcott. He was coming into these deep areas and causing us all kind of problems. And I think it was giving a real job to Declan Rice to try and deal with him. Again, Southampton with their switch passes, they capitalised on West Ham trying to play out and push out from the back a bit, and a few runs in behind caused us a few nervy moments in particular. The most nervy of all those moments was, of course, Craig Dawson failing to clear from Danny Ings. And to be fair, I thought, his mobility was going to be the key area of West Ham's defence that was going to hurt us. And it did, and it looked like it did for a long period of time. I kind of feel like we were lucky on those few occasions. Offensively, he had a few chances. I mean, a couple of sort of scrappy set pieces, but West Ham really didn't create enough. We obviously relinquished possession, and it was a frustrating half. We were still in it, but I felt like Southampton were really sort of turning the screw on us a little bit, and their mobility, their players that can push on, Walcott, Gineppo, were really threatening us. But it was a bit of a nothing game because obviously we didn't have the possession. Second half, we come out, and I think West Ham try to press a little bit higher. And I think this is something that I said in the preview. If West Ham, if we're a bit brave, we can try and win that ball, particularly in front of their back two when they're trying to play out from the back and create stuff. And I think for a 10-15 minute period, West Ham did do that. We did start to create. Soucek pushing up. I thought his mobility, athleticism today, both defensively and offensively, was superb in winning the ball and carrying it. I guess, they looked at that left-hand side with Cresswell, obviously a few times. He tried to get out from that left-hand position and push forward, but his pace let him down. And I think Southampton realised that if you can get someone like a Kyle Walker-Peters on him, create that width and allow Theo to come central, that you can cause him all kinds of problems and ask a few questions of him. And to be fair, they continued to have the ball for long periods of time. I think the way we set up with having those kind of midfield attacking three prevented someone like a Ward Prowse and a Romeo putting the press on what they have done against teams. That was a positive. It meant that Southampton's press wasn't as offensive. It didn't create as much chances as we possibly thought. They tried to use the switch pass. I've got to give a mention to Pablo Fornals because I actually thought his ability to recognise that and support Cresswell in sitting back. And I said in a 4-2-3-1, we saw against Crystal Palace, he didn't get back and he didn't support him when Ward got that cross in. And against Southampton, it could have been exactly the same. But he did do that. He cut out a number of balls and he began to set off our attack. Having said all of this, I think West Ham really struggled with the mobility to hurt Southampton in transition. Unfortunately, Fornals, Haller, Yarmolenko, they lacked pace. They couldn't really get in behind. They couldn't stretch a few times. Pablo's tried to play balls into someone like Haller, who just doesn't have that ability to do that, to hold it up and to play it on. And something needed to change if Moyes wanted to get something from that game. Taking Manu off was a slightly strange decision for me. I thought we had a good game and could have linked up play and benefited with a bit of pace sort of either side of him. Brings on Ben Rama, who I thought was fantastic in that 10 role, picking the ball up, taking players on and looking to force West Ham further up the pitch. And I think this is when we saw West Ham probably at their most effective. It was a little bit too late, but obviously bringing the Jared Bowen on for Yama, who for me gave the ball away a couple of times, was offside in a number of offensive positions, took too many touches. I don't want to be too harsh on him. I feel like I already have been, but certainly didn't really offer the right solution in this game. And Jared Bowen did, and West Ham pushed particularly in those forward players further up the pitch, and it allowed someone like a Soucek to sit a little bit deeper. Fornals sat deeper a bit at times, and West Ham had that low block on, and we had that protection in front of that back four. I have to say that West Ham's back four reacted much better to these switch passes. Their anticipation of them coming in, they were able to sit off and they were wary of them. And I think it nullified Southampton's attack and their threat. And Southampton really didn't create too many chances in the last 20 minutes. West Ham were in the ascendancy. Mikel Antonio was fantastic to see him get on the pitch. I thought actually he offered a much greater threat than Sebastian Haller, who I didn't think had a bad game. I didn't think he he did anything wrong. I thought his pressing at times was good. He tried to win the ball, but it was just the nature of the game. West Ham needed a bit of pace and a bit of offensiveness in Southampton's third to hurt them and also bring other people into play. And I thought Antonio, ability to win the ball in the air, stretch defences. We didn't see too much of that raw pace in behind. But his link-up play with Cy Benrahma at times was fantastic. And West Ham were unlucky, particularly down that left-hand side. Ball comes into Benrahma. He works incredibly hard for it. And obviously a fantastic save from McCarthy to stop that Southampton chance. But I actually think it really showcased that West Ham, although I think we were very switched on to the offensive threat of Southampton and nullified them very much so in that second half, offensively we didn't start right. And then we knew that anyway. We knew that coming from the team selection. Having somebody like Pablo Fornals, for as good as I thought his work rate was in that second half, and Yarmolenko on either wing alongside someone like Lanzini with Aller, doesn't offer enough mobility and can't hurt teams and changes the way we play and actually forces West Ham to have to push a Souček up into a higher position in order to support them and obviously leaving defensive gaps. And I think West Ham looked so much better with Bowen, Benrahma and Antonio on the pitch. Genuine pace, great mobility, good link-up play as well from what we saw of directness. I think had they been on earlier, that we could have possibly snatched a winner. But for me, I think the key sort of outcome of this game is Moyes has to continue to make those, he has to change his way that he makes the right decisions in, because I think he could have really won that game. And I think in the second half, it showed you that West Ham could sit off them defensively. They were happy in a low block. We had the players to do it. Declan Rice was superb again in winning the ball. We could nullify them in central areas and in the switch pass, but we just needed an offensive threat. And we didn't have that in this game, and it hurt us. And you hope that come later in the season that losing, it feels like losing points, doesn't really come back to bite us. But listen, we move on to the Everton game. I think it's a good chance again for us to try and get those 3 points. I hope Moyes heeds the difference in the side when Benrahma and Bowen and Antonio came on. He puts them in for the mobility, and it allows West Ham to revert to that low block and get numbers forward. We have that defensive, we have that solidity. We have that awareness. We're not asking our fullbacks to get forward. Actually, before I leave, I thought Ryan Fredericks was fantastic as well. The role that he was being asked to do, to sit a little bit deeper, using his pace for recovery runs, it stopped the overlaps from the likes of Bertrand and really nullified them. So fair play to him. And I think defensively we looked good. Offensively, there are massive concerns. And I think Moyes has got the players to change it to a degree. And he has to take the impetus against Everton, who at times I imagine will sit in a low block. They've got great athleticism in that midfield with Decore. They'll look to carry the ball, and Iwobi and Richarlison providing the width and support to Calvert-Lewin. It'll offer a difficult task, a task that possibly if West Ham play the way we played in that second half, could benefit us. So I'm going to wrap it up there. Thank you so much for watching. Drop a like on the video. Subscribe if you're new. There'll be a predicted 11 for the Everton game out that will be out tomorrow. I will get onto it, I promise. And also a how to beat Everton and Carlo Ancelotti. So keep your eyes peeled. And until next time, take care.